This next story is from a gentleman named Icycol. Now, he has millions of subscribers, both on TikTok and on YouTube. And he put out a video that has millions and millions of views. And that is part of the disturbing trend. As many Christians, especially the young earth variety, say the Ken Hams of the world, advocate that the Old Testament preaches that there were giants in the world and that these were literal giants. And one problem, of course, with those claims is that we don't find the evidence for it. So when it caught my eye that there was a video going around with millions of views that was literally called "The Evidence That Giants Walked the Earth," naturally, I was interested.
Here's proof that giants once roamed the earth. To start it off, archaeologists in China have uncovered giant skeletons found in the soil. These
Okay, so hopefully you saw that image, and hopefully you recognize that image right here. It's the same image. This is from Taiwan today. It wasn't from China. And if you can see the headline there, Taiwan artists take center stage at, and I don't know how to pronounce the rest, but there was an artist festival where one of the exhibits was this particular artist had created a massive oversized skeleton. So naturally, the giant advocates have taken this and are posting it as if it was an actual archaeological find in China, which of course it was not.
human-like creatures date back to approximately 5,000 years ago. But the thing is, archaeologists keep finding more and more of these giants.
Okay, 5,000 years ago, archaeologists keep finding more and more of those skeletons like he was showing us there. Let me see if I can... Oh, does this look like those same skeletons? It does. It's the exact same picture. And again, he was actually not too far off on the date. Graveyard of giants found during dig at 5,000-year-old Chinese village. Huge if true, right? No pun intended. But we go and we look, and how big was the skeleton? We see this skeleton was 1.9 meters tall. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's approximately 6'2". So archaeologists found a Chinese person, I'm assuming it's a man, for no good reason, that was 6'2". Now that is large in China and large maybe for 5,000 years ago, but hardly a giant. Certainly not of the type that we saw in the past, the way he's representing it here.
Giant humans every year. Like recently.
What I stepped over there was that more and more of these are found every year. That's certainly not true, because if you go and you look at the young Earth creationist presentations from, say, 1990 and from 2000 and from 2010, they have the same skeletons that we are talking about today. We do not have 10 new skeletons than the 2012 presentations. We don't have 20 more skeletons than the 2000 presentation, for example. So we are not finding more every year. However, people are getting better at Photoshop.
These skeletons were also found in Bulgaria, and
these skeletons were found in Bulgaria. Take a good look at that particular image, burn that in your head, and now look at this image. Same image, but you'll notice that the skeleton is much smaller than the archaeologist who's looking for it. And in fact, there's a ton of space between these two people who are studying, and we'll go back to the video. Boom, someone has clearly photoshopped that image to make the skeleton much bigger than the person studying it. No, that's not what was happening. Oh, and for reference, this was in an archaeology blog where this image originated. Let's carry on.
date back to around 7,000 years ago. That's not even the crazy part, because this 4-foot human-like footprint was found in Africa. The archaeologist who found this said it was around 400 million years old.
Okay, so the archaeologist who found it says it's 400 million years old. It's the 4-foot tall footprint on a wall. The person in that picture wasn't an archaeologist. It was a random tourist whose social media got pretty popular when he started posting that picture. Now, here we have an actual archaeologist, not an archaeologist, an actual geologist, Robert Scooch, I think you pronounce his name, which is a funny name to say. He has a PhD in geology, and he went and visited the same site. And it was in South Africa, which is close enough to where he said it was found. Now you'll notice that, again, it's the same similar footprint, almost the size of the human, but it's on the side of a wall, which would be an interesting thing to happen. But let's take a look at the zoomed out view. So instead, you're looking at this wall of rock where there is all kinds of clear marks from erosion and just various water settlements that have made this rock appear to have all kinds of little curvature patterns in it. The footprint doesn't even look like a footprint in context like this, but if you take a clever photo from a clever angle, it looks like a footprint. And of course, when you go close in, it doesn't have the kind of arch that a foot would have, or the kind of markings that if you're an expert in footprints, you would notice. Certainly it's not weighted the right way. There's no reason this 7-meter tall giant would have laid down and put his foot into some soft sediment that was then rapidly buried. You don't tend to get rapid burial of vertical things. And if it had, theoretically, the giant's bones would be there. This is clearly just erosion in a rock formation with some clever angled photography that gives you an optical illusion looking like a foot. So far, not so good on his various proofs of giants.
And that this creature had to have been around 27 feet tall. Also in Egypt, they found this finger that was 38 centimeters long.
Okay, in Egypt, they found this finger that was 38 centimeters long. The length tends to vary quite a bit depending on which source you look at. Here you'll see a blog about that same, it's the same picture, about a mummified giant finger of Egypt. Now, what happened was a researcher was over in Egypt looking for artifacts, and he came across in a market this guy who had this finger, and it looked like it had a nail and it looked quasi-authentic, but the person at the market there wasn't letting anyone examine it, but he was charging for photographs, and he made this researcher pay $300 just to take a couple of photos. Now, so the researcher did that. He paid the guy $300, the equivalent of 300 American dollars, came back later to get some follow-up, and sure enough, the old man and his fingers were gone, never to be seen again. So this is not something that has ever been examined, or it sure seems like it's a huckster who fooled a tourist at some point in time. And we all know that happens. So until we have some better evidence of what this was, we don't even know if this was carved out of wood. What's going on here? And maybe it's just a piece of wood that looks like a finger. We don't know. But until we have a little bit more peer review, I'm not jumping on the evidence for giant bandwagon just yet. But let's see what his last bit of evidence is.
Finally, we have even found cave paintings of large giants fighting us humans.
Okay, cave paintings of giants fighting humans. Let's take a look and see what we got. No, when we do an image search, we find that this is an image from Shutterstock. It's literally a stock footage, stock illustration website. Clearly, and if you go back and forth between the arrangement that he had and the arrangement here, someone took this and overlaid it over top of what looked like a cave background, but there's very sharp edges. None of these ancient depictions, wall paintings, ever have sharp edges, let alone all of them. He's rearranged the people to be a little bit more in a battle with each other. He took out this one larger figure on the one side so that it would look like there was even a bit greater contrast. No Icycol, that is not evident either for giants.
So maybe there was a war between the giants and the humans.
Maybe one of them was named Goliath and one of them was named David, and the humans won. I don't know. Icycol seems to have a channel where he actually does attempt to try and do education. I think he just got sucked in on this one. But, and I hate to use the word debunked. I almost never use the word debunked in my channel, but I feel like I debunked that one. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments.